when you talked about
Providence,
slaughterhouses.
Providence?
But since you talk about the slaughterhouse, that if you show people slaughterhouses, nobody would eat meat. They wouldn't eat meat.
There's a quote. I remember a book I read when I was really early teens, and he said that if the abattoirs had glass walls, nobody would eat meat, and I believe that. It's true.
Yeah, so it's really nice to latch on to young people, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially guys like that, because they are thinking. And they've seen flashes, like you're a flash of truth. And they're inquisitive.
I like that way of looking at it.
It's a flash of truth.
Yeah.
And they're inquisitive, then you latch on and they, oh really? Because everybody's got kindness. It's a kindness thing, isn't it?
I think absolutely, especially children and younger people, they're born compassionate and curious.
And
we're kind of
horrified
we indoctrinate them to make them think that eating meat and consuming dairy and eggs is normal.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Even farm. I remember taking my children through their nursery. We went on a trip to a farm, and as we were walking around, I just thought, this is so depressing. This is so depressing, and it got me thinking about how we show them pop-up books. And it's all cute and fuzzy and cuddly, and it's like this, and it sounds dramatic, but it's almost like a conspiracy. From such a tiny age, they're taught that farms are places where cute things are, it's cuteness, and it's the complete polar opposite of that. There's horrific things
Old
going
McDonald's.
on. Yeah, and baby cows being taken away from their mothers at birth, and bottle fed, and it's all so unnatural. But we're led to believe that it's so natural, and even the marketing and packaging of laughing cows, and cows in fields, and
happy
it's all
chickens.
happy. And it's the complete polar opposite of that. But we're fed it, and it's almost subliminal, and it just becomes normalised, and it's okay. And actually, I work in a primary school, and I remember telling an adult that's the same age as me that pigs were gassed, and she couldn't believe it. She had no idea. People don't know. They don't. A lot of people don't want to know. I think it's easier not to know.
Well, I think things are changing because there's alternatives. There's some great alternatives now, and there are alternative tastes that you can randomly buy in the street, and it's great.
We're being catered for. We're being catered for more now.
Yeah.
And the tide is turning.
And it's getting political now. It's getting political the way food's produced because it's polluting the environment.
Yeah.
And it's causing damage. So the momentum, if the market would swing, which it is, people are concerned and people care really. If you dig deep, people really care. They do, because most people have been looked after when you're young and you're little. If you get looked after, you want to look after the little bird or the worm or the little whatever.
Yeah, but it's the fact
that's what it boils down to.
It's hidden away, and the fact that it's hidden away makes it
but that's
all
only
very
a market
convenient.
decision.
It's all very tactical, isn't it?
It's tactical. I don't blame it because it's a market. People make money from eggs. We've got cousins that are farmers. They make money from sheep. And you can't criticise his way of life because it's a little bit unfair because that's how he makes his living. But the market swings, then the market generates interest from different ideas, then things swing round, and then it becomes a norm. And
we were asking the other day, trying to find out if you can get coal-free eggs. In the UK, you can. I think it's Germany. They're starting to bring in the technology now where they can actually in some way scan the egg and sex the eggs before they hatch, so they don't have to, because they liquidise.
Yeah, they get macerated from I think it's the feathers, the colour of the feathers. So they
oh really?
Yeah, they pick out the males and macerate them.
Yeah, as they hatch.
Yeah.
And people don't realise that either. You just think, will it come to the UK that eventually we'll have coal-free eggs? Because I would be happy to eat a coal-free egg if I know that there's no ugliness attached to the production of that food. Then I would eat it. But
it's good that guys on the street just talking to people.
Yeah, that's the way.
They're the people that make a difference. Just make a few people think, and then one person talks to another, and and it can spread. But there's not many around like you.
Have you guys considered going vegan, fully plant-based?
Well, we don't drink milk. We drink oat milk.
We off eggs, but when we're back on these,
we went back on the eggs because I've got teenage daughters, and I was just worried about iron.
Then we
and things
find
like
it difficulty in cheese, but cheese is so established in it.
But the eggs we get are from somebody who has
Just round the corner.
hens
But it's
on
not
an
always the
allotment.
excuse.
So,
But veganism is tough. Really.
Yeah.
It is,
Well,
because
but-
leather product, it
Yeah.
is. But then you get into a conscience about cotton. Where the hell does cotton come
wool,
from?
wool.
Well,
Wow.
no, I mean, no. Then you look at the human environment as
right,
well as then the picture gets broader.
Yeah, veganism's about like generally minimizing harm. So it's animals and humans as well.
Yeah.
Like with the with those eggs, so you say you only get like backyard eggs from a friend.
Yeah. But the hens that he's, if you trace it back, presumably he's buying his, it's the person they're buying the hens from, isn't it? They would be doing the maceration or not, I don't know.
Yeah, and also like the because chickens have been bred to a point where they put all of their calcium into the eggs. I've got a friend who feeds the eggs back to the chickens so that they don't develop osteoporosis, things like that.
Yeah,
and you
me
say
too,
with cheese, like obviously the practices are still, milk practices are still happening for cheese production, and ultimately the death of the cow, even if we're not paying for the meat, we're still contributing to that those practices.
But
and there's so many like cheese alternatives now that are vegan.
Yeah, there's
like,
some
so many
good stuff,
different
but
brands.
it's hard. Cheese is a tough
Cheese
one.
is a tough one.
Again, it's habit. It's habit. If you try the different brands, there are some really good ones out there now.
And that's like oat milk. When we first changed, this was years ago, we stopped having dairy milk. And it's almost like you have to stop having milk altogether for a period.
It's awful milk.
So you forget what your
can't drink milk.
preconceived diet, and then you go back to alternative milk.
That's a good way of doing it.
It's like sugar in
and then
tea.
you're starting again, kind of thing. It's refreshing your, and I think that's almost what you have to do with the cheese.
Yeah, like
Drop it completely.
Yeah, and like 'cause obviously, is the alternatives. Although they're a really good replica, they're not the exact same flavor-wise.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way of doing it, kind of cutting out for a little bit and then going to plant-based alternatives. And you don't taste the taste difference so much. But would you agree the taste difference is worth it for the animal that isn't being exploited?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's hard to swing it when there's 4 of us in the household. We've got a daughter that is a cheese addict. Like everything is about cheese.
but I mean, they're going to be influenced by you. And it's all about conscience, isn't it? You start to think differently with your conscience.
Amelie's not comfortable eating eggs.
No, she won't.
And I guess you could give them an option of, if they want to, they could go out and buy their own cheese if they really wanted dairy cheese. But then maybe say, set a boundary of being like, but we'll only give you vegan cheeses. And that would encourage them. And if they did try those alternatives, I'm sure they'd like them. And like just try different brands, because some are still a bit crap, but there's so many good ones out there now.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you go to different supermarkets, there's loads of different brands.
We spend a fortune on cheese. If there was an alternative, I'd buy it.
Well, definitely.
But
But we're almost there.
Because we love food. I got an agricultural background. We had allotment, so it's all about freshness and taste. And then when you get something inferior, it's really hard to go with. Selfishness, and we've got consciences about what we eat. But the groundswell was there, better than what it was 10 years ago.
Definitely.
And the advertising, the McDonald's, and then what they're trying to do, they know when the market swing comes, that's when it's awful thing to say. Then you can use the market for a benefit and exposure and stuff.
Yeah. Would you agree though, like the market swings from supply and demand, and it takes individuals to demand those more ethical choices and alternatives?
Definitely. Definitely.
Right, we gotta go.
Okay.
Well done anyway.
Thank you. What's your names?
Tim and Di.
Nice to meet you guys. My name's Amber.
Oh, that's a lovely
If you want to
name.
check out my YouTube account, it's called Amber for Animals. It's just starting out.
Take a photo. Yeah, it's great.
And I appreciate you guys stopping and talking.
I could hear you, and I just thought, yes. It's just so nice to hear someone
And you've got
saying
really good
what you
answers
think.
to make people think.
And
you're very direct. You push.
I'm trying to find the balance between, making sure people are heard and not being too pushy, but also being very blunt sometimes with the answers, because it takes that sometimes to get through.
People have got dogs, they've got animals, they've got pets, and it's just a love of something that's not human.
Could I be blunt one more time? You say sometimes like eating animal products is like a selfish thing, it's because we enjoy it. Do you think instead of making choices out of selfishness, we should be thinking out of the point of view of the animal? So when we kind of get those urges to eat cheese or whatever it is, we should instead of think not the taste pleasure we want, but the animals that's suffering behind it.
But that's quite a big step.
That's what we're asking that young boy lad to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's the same.
Make that step.
It's the same. Yeah, meat to dairy and eggs.
That is true. That is true.
It is.
Think about when you talk about
Providence,
the slaughterhouses. But since you talk about the slaughterhouse, that if you show people slaughterhouses, nobody would eat meat. They wouldn't eat meat.
There's a quote. I remember a book I read when I was really early teens, and he said that if the abattoirs had glass walls, nobody would eat meat, and I believe that. It's true.
Someone else sent this a book apparently. Skinny Chick or something like. I can't remember what the book was called now. But I think that's the case. Or if people had to slaughter the animals, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But again, it's not just meat; it's the dairy and eggs, because it's the same death. They still get slaughtered in the same way.
But you know what's coming? Have you seen the cultured meat?
Right.
You've seen that?
Lab-grown meat.
Lab-grown meat, and I mean, there's people that are like, it's disgusting, and then you've also got your camp that say, with this, we can completely get rid of all the suffering for animals because it's literally just a slab of meat.
That's a market thing as well, so you can't point the finger at the market because they're the boys that are going to turn it.
Yeah, but
the inspiration comes from the streets.
But
and
what will
the
happen with that is you'll
by
have Michelin star chef, or one of them will start to do it because it's novelty and it will draw in, people will be curious, and then that will trickle down.
Yeah, it could get really expensive with novelty meat, it's just
it's got to be given a kudos for people to, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat it because I don't feel like I need it. Do you know what I mean? But I think some people would think, that's a way
if it looks exactly like beef and cuts.
It's better. It's better because there's no fat.
And like I say, no suffering involved.
There's no suffering.
So, I mean, it depends on the vegan you ask, but personally, I wouldn't have any issue with that because vegan is about reducing suffering.
Yeah.
And if you can give that replica without any of the suffering involved, and it tastes the exact same, it feels the exact same, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So genius. I just think, wow.
Did you take a photo?
Maybe in my lifetime, I'd love to see that before I die. To see.
I think it is happening in there's countries in Asia where it's being developed.
Israel was really big on it.
Right. Okay.
Israel.
We watched a documentary a while back. Do you remember that thing we saw about Asia and how all the fast food places are moving into it?
Yeah.
And they've got
really westernized.
Massive problems with obesity in young people now. It's just like, what are we doing? You know, it's
when Asia used to be like almost all like plant-based food.
Yeah,
so much healthier.
And then they would go in. These companies were going in. It was a shopping mall, wasn't it? And they were all competing for business. And so what they did was made their food almost free, just pennies people had to pay. The queues at these KFCs and McDonald's and all the rest of it. And of course, as soon as people get a taste for it, they've got them. So it's worth giving it away. It's almost like a drug dealer, isn't it? You give it.
That indoctrination.
Yeah.
And we're kind of the Western values of meat being this. I don't know, this like premium thing of like a status thing.
Yeah.
And that's being given to like other countries and like Eastern countries. So they're being like starting that brainwashing there.
That's
it's very sad, but like I say, like the market can swing.
Yeah, it can.
It takes people to force that.
Yeah, it does, like you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm encouraging people as well to carry on the conversation. So talk to like family and friends about it, about what happens to these animals and the effect on the environment and our health.
I'm quite careful. I do drip feed it into work. I work in school.
I'm quite quick.
Yeah, I'll just drop it in, but I don't want to go on about it either because people then go, and they switch off. That kind of, do you know what I mean? Like you're preaching. But what I liked about the way that you were speaking there was, I think a lot of people think that vegetarians and vegans are soft touches, a bit wet. And you weren't, you were forthright and forceful, and this is how it is kind of thing, and I think that's really positive.
Well, my activism used to be like much more of a pushover technique where I was like, it's bad, but now I'm just trying to be a bit more just very abrupt with people, and because I don't have a lot of time sometimes, I only have a minute, so you have to really get through to them quickly.
And a shock is quite a good thing, because then you've got them like, what, really? You've got them. And then that's when you chuck the rest of it at them. Hit them with it.
Come on, we got to go.
Yeah, you got to
Very nice to meet you.
You too, thank you guys.
See you later.
Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified when videos go up every Monday and Thursday. If you want to watch another conversation, here are a couple of options. And if you want to support my activism, there's a link in my profile to a page where you can buy me a coffee. Thanks. Amber.